Hey guys, what's up? This is Mommy Sexual reporting for duty. So, I basically came across a very interesting topic discussion on the website known as Reddit. You can see here on your screen. This is specifically the Madoka Magica section of Reddit. So, somebody posted a topic where they basically say possible spoilers. Homura and Sayaka's parents. Now, essentially, I'll warn you ahead of time that this is basically a thread where people are speculating what's going on with the whereabouts of Homura and Sayaka's parents. So I'm just going to go through this topic thread and, just basically read to you guys what people are saying about what their parents are doing and what role they could be playing in the story. So this is essentially, just a lot of speculation, and I may also give my thoughts on some of these posts as well. So let's just go right through it. Okay, so for those of you that have seen the series, you notice that with the exception of Madoka, there isn't really any parental involvement for one reason or another. So here's the question that has been bothering me since I finished the series years ago. Where the hell are Homura and Sayaka's parents in all this? That's actually a really good question because we essentially don't see any involvement from Sayaka and Homura's parents at all. I mean, I think it's especially weird with Sayaka because we see her, actively coming from her house, but we don't see her parents anywhere. So let's read what some of the people have to say about this down here. So this one person says, I can't pronounce that name, but you can see it on the screen. Sayaka's parents are definitely there, but apparently they have a very hands-off approach in raising her. Probably they are working most of the day and are not at home a lot, so she's grown to be very independent of them. I'm almost certain it's them telling Madoka in episode 8 that Sayaka didn't return home last night. Homura, on the other hand, appears to be an orphan, a wealthy one, though. This is interesting because I do know that information was leaked to Madoka about Sayaka's whereabouts being unknown, but from how it was shown, it seemed like it was like a broadcast on the news. Like, it kind of seemed like it was a news report that talked about the fact that Sayaka was missing. And the part about Homura being an orphan and a wealthy one, in the series, they don't say anything about her parents, so I'm not even sure where this person got that information from, because it's not talked about in the anime, anything about her parents at all, but it's interesting to think that she might be an orphan. That's a possibility. I don't know where this person got the impression that she might be wealthy. Actually, if memory serves me correctly, Homer went to a Christian school. So the fact that she went to school there could imply that maybe she is rich. That would be interesting. I suppose that's a possibility. Huh. That's something to think about. Anyway, moving on. Let's see what this next person has to say. Sayaka's parents are either constantly away and are not mentioned because they are ultimately. This is what I think. This is, if somebody were to ask me what my viewpoint on Sayaka's parents are, this is probably along the lines of what my opinion pretty much is. Sayaka's parents are either constantly away and are not mentioned because they were ultimately irrelevant to the plot and her character development. This is what I personally believe. I believe this because they weren't important. That's why we don't know anything about them. And this person also says that Homer grew up in an orphanage. I almost want to ask them where they got this from because I don't believe that it's mentioned where Homer comes from. We just know she went to a Christian school, if I'm not mistaken, and I think that's it. And we know that she has a very serious illness as well. But anyway, moving on. Let's see. What does this person have to say? I think it may be unintentional thing. Mami and Kyoko's parents died because of very different circumstances. Kyoko was indirectly responsible while Mami feels guilty but actually isn't. Madoka, both parents and little brother are shown. Sayaka's are mentioned but irrelevant to the whole thing. They are there though. While Homura may or may not have parents, but it's also irrelevant to the whole plot. Yeah, that's the real reason why we don't know anything about their parents. As being a time traveler, the travelers around the loop for 12 years with a mission would make family or any other kind of social affairs for that matter rather unimportant. That makes sense. I heard that somewhere in the semi-canon materials. Don't know precisely where though. He's probably talking. Yeah, he's talking about the game or manga. Might be in that PSP visual novel. Homura says that her parents don't mind if she stays out late when asked about it. So it's kind of a confirmation that they are out there somewhere, but for reasons mentioned above, we don't see them. Interesting. I actually haven't played very much of the PSP game, but that game does offer a lot of insight in regards to the characters, though it's always debatable whether or not it's considered canon. I personally consider what's in the PSP games to be canon, but it's very debatable. So apparently there's something mentioned in the PSP game which points out the fact that Homura does mention her parents. So I guess we can kind of say that confirms that she does have parents. I guess we can use that as confirmation that they do exist, but they aren't featured heavily because they're not important to Homura's character development. So anyway, moving on. Let's read this part right here. What's posted here? The Homura parents that comes from the novelization, the PSP game, says she's an orphan. That's where they got it from. Okay, that's where they got it from. I really need to get around to completing this game, because currently as I'm recording this video, I have one playthrough of this game on my main Mommy Sexual channel. I actually have a few more recorded, but I'm probably going to throw it on my second channel. If you have yet to subscribe to my second channel, I'll have it linked below. But I'm pretty much going to be uploading all of my non-discussion videos on that channel, including my playthroughs of Madoka Portable. So if you want to see more of those types of videos, check out my second channel, and I'll probably be playing more and uploading as time goes on. So yeah, be sure to do that. Anyway, so a person says the Homura parents thing comes from the novelization. The PSP game says she's an orphan, but I think most people go with the PSP game because Rebellion emphasizes that Madoka is literally the only person Homura has. Oh wow, that's interesting. Interesting. So it's implied in Rebellion that the only thing that Homura... what's really interesting is that if you look at it from this perspective, I mean, if we take away the PSP games, and we only use the anime and the movies as a way of determining whether or not Homura has parents, what this person says is interesting, because like I said, they say right here, Rebellion emphasizes that Madoka is literally the only person Homura has. So one could believe that maybe part of the reason why Homura is so obsessed with Madoka is because maybe Madoka is the only, friend slash mentor slash only person that Homura has in her life. Maybe there's a possibility she doesn't have parents. Maybe she is an orphan. Maybe Madoka is her only friend. Maybe she really is the only thing that Homura has, which might also give more of a reason as to why Homura is so obsessed with her and why she couldn't bear for her to die, because with her dying, she didn't have anybody. This actually would make perfect sense because Homura is shown to feel so alone within the series, and one would think if she had parents, then she wouldn't feel quite as lonely as she's made out to be. So yeah, there's a possibility that maybe she really doesn't have any parents. Maybe she is an orphan. If we're just going by the anime, like I said, the only hint that we're really getting, is from the PSP game. But yeah. So anyway, moving on. Moemura hating herself and having nothing to live for is a pretty big plot point in the series and Rebellion. It makes sense for her to be an orphan. That's a good point. Really interesting. So it seems like there's a good amount of evidence that points toward the fact that Homura doesn't have parents. This is tough because it's looking like in the PSP game, which is kind of canon, but not really. It said that she has parents, but based on Homura's or Momura, which is basically the version of Homura that wears the glasses, based on her personality and her feelings that are shown within the series, and based on what based on what this person is saying here and what was said above, the series is really trying to make us feel like she could really be an orphan. I find that interesting. Sayaka's parents are in one episode in a flashback. They're watching Kyosuke perform. I mean, it's never explicitly stated that it's them, but they kind of look like Sayaka, so I assume so. That's very true. We do see a baby version. We do see a younger version of Sayaka watching Kyosuke perform the violin. I don't know if we got a really good look at Sayaka's supposed parents. One can assume that those were her parents that she was sitting next to. So yeah, I believe one of the side materials, possibly the audio drama, mentions that Homura is an orphan that grew up in a Catholic boarding school, which explains much of the symbolism associated with rebellion. Homilia's labyrinth, and this is also and her relationship with Madoka, which mirrors the story of Jesus and some of his followers. This is also why Madoka's friendship became a pretty big deal to her after being hospitalized for over a year and having no friends or family whatsoever. Madoka was the first person to show her actual kindness. Aww. Wow. Interesting. So the PSP gaming says that she has parents, but the anime and some of the material surrounding it is saying that she's an orphan. Wait, but is there definitive proof? Yeah, I was going to say this is a good question. But wait, is there definitive proof that Homura is an orphan? Good question, because a lot of this is speculation. Like, it's not. I haven't seen any complete confirmation yet. The most definitive proof that Homura's apartment, much like Mommy's, only has her name on the nameplate. I forgot the technical name for it, as we don't usually have those here in NA outside the door, not those of her parents. That's interesting. So based on what this person says, this might be the proof, because I know that there is a scene in the original anime where Homura is I'm not sure what it is, but we do see a glimmer of Homura's apartment. Like you guys remember the scene where Madoka comes to Homura's house. I think it's like maybe episode 9 or 10 or something like that. Madoka shows up in Homura's house and essentially, tries to get information about what's going on. And this person is saying that perhaps they're saying that Homura's nameplate is on the door, but it's hers and not her parents. I have to go back and see if that's actually true. But this could actually be proof that Homura is an orphan and that she doesn't have any parents. So, do you think Homura has parents, or do you think she's an orphan? And what do you think of Sayaka's parents overall? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Peace out.